Now we're on to the inevitable discovery doctrine. And this is where Luigi lost in federal court. But it's a little bit different in state court, so let me explain why he still has a chance. Did you think I forgot about you? I didn't. I just have a full-time job. Inevitable discovery is basically the government saying, even if the officers messed up, the evidence is going to come in anyway because we would have found it legally another way. Federal courts, they're pretty forgiving on this. New York State courts, not so much. In federal court, Judge Garnett said, even though there were issues in how Altoona Police Department handled Luigi's backpack, and she did call some of that conduct questionable, inevitable discovery plus that federal search warrant, that saved the evidence. But this is where KFA really shines. She argues that New York applies inevitable discovery much more narrowly, and that the doctrine does not apply here for several reasons. She argues that in New York, there is no lawful independent discovery path. Under New York law, the inevitable discovery rule can't be speculative. And what that means is the prosecution has to show that lawful procedures were already underway, not that they were going to be done later. KFA also argues that in New York, courts care much more about deterrence. Meaning if police cut corners, courts don't just excuse that because the evidence is important. She also argues that you can't get a later federal warrant to justify earlier state-level police conduct. In other words, federal inevitability does not automatically cure state constitutional problems. So yeah, the backpack can be admissible in federal court and still be suppressed in New York State court. I'm not trying to give you hope here. I'm just explaining how the legal standards differ between federal and state. Judge Caro is not bound by Judge Garnett's decision. New York's inevitable discovery doctrine, that's narrower by design. So in a nutshell, the federal court was more about admissibility. State court is more about accountability. So this fight is still very much alive. I'll wrap this up in the next video.